Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, here we are again, another weekend. Couple of little differences though this weekend, and we'll see how long it takes you to notice what the differences are. But first of all, another apology to James Wyatt, who keeps letting us know that we're late, and has also suggested that we should change the title of the show to the Weekend Show. Now, I feel a little bit like Batman without his Robin. Only one Ronnie. Abbott without Costello, Laurel without Hardy, etc., etc. Because Mr. Dickson is AWOL this morning. We're not even sure where he is. So a little competition. If anybody spots him, please do send us a picture so that we know everything's okay. So we've decided we're just going to have a little chat and discuss a few things. Obviously, it's a big difference for me not having the young Ewan McGregor look alike or sound alike, giving his opinions and telling us everything that's going on. And in most cases, very down to earth, direct and accurate. So Steve, you sadly missed my friend, but anyhow, we'll carry on with the toast without the butter on. So here we go. Now, what did we do last week? We had the most fantastic opportunity to talk to a group that were responsible for breaking the record of circumnavigating the Earth, and it's called One More Orbit. Absolutely incredible. I've actually renamed them the Orbit 8, so it's a little bit of a story like the Magnificent Seven, where Yul Brynner goes around and finds his Magnificent Seven. This is what happens between Captain Hamish Harding and also Colonel Terry Virts. They found a group of 8 people, 8 international individuals who gelled incredibly well, who were on an aircraft for 46 hours, 39 minutes and 38 seconds, which is what it took to break the world record. It's an absolutely fantastic film. It's out now. We'll be linking this message to where you can find it. It covers everything. It covers a bit of humor. It covers a bit of excitement for anybody who's into space. There's two astronauts, one cosmonaut, whose name's Gennady Padalki, and he's the record holder for days actually in space. So 878 days, 11 hours, 31 minutes. And what a humble gentleman with a great smile, incredible complexion. I'm saying that because he spent so much time up in space. He actually looks as if he's got younger. But he's a great character. And he met Terry whilst they were on an ISS mission, International Space Station mission, and they got on very well, and they were part of this particular race to beat the record. Now, they did the record in a Gulfstream G650, and it was supplied, thankfully, to Qatar Executive Jet. So the chief, Mr. Al-Bakr, he put his weight of persuasion, resources, and also I would suggest a bit of friendly pressure on Captain Hamish Harding and Colonel Terry Virts to make sure that they broke the record and that it was part of Qatar's overview as well. So well done to the chief there for that. It was absolutely brilliant. They're in the Guinness Book of Records, page 145. A couple of other characters that we spoke with was Janik Mikkelsen, or Janika Mikkelsen, and incredibly motivated young lady. She was responsible for live streaming and satellite operations, and she was paralyzed as a young girl, and so from a wheelchair to being one of the fastest ladies to circumnavigate the pole with another female colleague on this incredible expedition is amazing, and it's well worth listening to her. She's an absolute credit, and somebody who just will not accept anything negative. Incredible. Now, in the film, you also learn quite a bit about the climate. Looking back on the Earth, there's some interviews with young children. It covers so many things, including carbon neutral. And there's an organization called Carbon Underground, which is really interesting. So I would recommend anybody, please have a look at it. It's well worth watching. And there's a CD coming out at Christmas. Now, lastly, our last interview was with Colonel Virts, and he's got a backdrop behind him, which anybody would envy for their study. He's got his F-16 helmet. He's got various awards. He's got his Guinness Book of Records. He's got everything in there, but he's also got his own book, which is How to Astronaut, and it's made up of 51 short essays. And it's really, really supposed to be a wow impact. It's a bit of fun. It's not something that you have to be too spacey or techie to understand. And during the conversation, I also asked him what else was he reading. And to my shock and also surprise, he came out with a huge amount of books, which were way over me. And I had to say to him that if you compared him and me together, we were actually almost two opposite ends of Darwin's scale. And when he said what he was reading, I'm not going to say I felt embarrassed because I'm just reading it for a bit of fun, but this is what I would have said that I was reading. So here we've got Jamie Redknapp, and it's actually been endorsed by Jack Whitehall. So, you know, two literary giants in their own right. That's what I've been reading. Now, topical stories this week. So obviously the government under more pressure again, the UK government, as is all governments with regards to testing, with regards to this damn quarantine. And I know if Stephen was here, he'd be saying, you know, this quarantine has got to get itself sorted out. It's not the right way to go forward. So fully appreciate that. But then some interesting news. You've got WFS launching their Project Coldstream, which is in preparation for global air cargo deliveries of CV19. So well done. That's John, Craig and Barry. Well done. And also the Project Coldstream team leader is Mike Duffy. So Mike, good luck, my friend. I know Mike quite well from my time in the States. Now, they have 12 dedicated pharma facilities: Amsterdam, Barcelona, Brussels, Cape Town, Copenhagen, Frankfurt, Joburg, London, Madrid, Miami, and New York. And their jewel in the crown, obviously, is in Paris, where they've got a huge facility there. And all of the facilities that I've just mentioned are either CEIV or GDP accredited. So fair play to you guys. You've put a lot of investment and time into that. Now, as far as why and how, obviously they're expecting something in the region of 5 billion doses worldwide to be ordered or are already ordered now. So anybody who's got the capability is surely going to get a good slice of that particular vaccine cake, which is important. So it's an estimated 65,000 tons. The World Health Organization are just saying, and they've just outlined that there's over 100 or around 140 COVID-19 vaccines that are in initial stages of development globally, but at least 24 that have been tested out now on people in clinical trials. So it's going to come soon. And the way things are going now with this second wave, soon isn't soon enough. On top of that, we've got Brussels Airport, and they've also got a task force, and they've got over 30,000 square meters of temp controlled areas. And they're also integrating with their digital data sharing platform, which is Brew Cloud. So they use this brew and lots of other words, which are clear indicators as to what they mean. So a little bit like the stain on the can, it does what it says. So they're also looking to track temperature sensitive goods in real time. And they've got the Brew Cure, which is obviously the focus on the vaccines. And they're used to transporting pharmaceuticals in dry ice because they've got experience with Ebola. Now, moving forward, and another little bit of information, which basically highlights where we are in this particular damn crisis. EasyJet on track for the first ever full year loss, and they're looking at pre-tax losses of up to £845 million, which is incredible. And when you consider last year, the swing, they were around 528 million pounds profit. So it's just incredible. And, for somebody like EasyJet to be suffering like that, it really underlines where we are at the moment. Now, that also brings me to an interesting snippet of information that was floating around, where IATA was showing how many people have actually traveled since the beginning of this year, and how many people have contracted the virus whilst on an aircraft. And it actually works out to be 1 in 23 million, which is an incredible number. but it does underline the fact that once you're actually on the aircraft, it's one of the safest places to be. So the task now, or the challenge, is how do we make sure now we've got consistency and effectiveness to get consumers confident that all of the preparation and the time and the process from getting to an airport and processing yourself through the airport, whether it's security, whether it's checking, etc., all of those touch points now are so important to generate some confidence in the consumer to get them actually back on the aircraft. And when you think there's only 7 European countries without a 14-day quarantine, it's a bit of a challenge. So something needs to be done there. Now, Cathay Pacific and United, they've been trialing digital health passports, which they call Common Pass. So many people are trying to do so many different things. It's fantastic. And I think now what's necessary is some sort of coming together so they can identify which are the best practices or the best options, so that everybody then can start focusing on something the same again, so that we get consistency. Bit of a sad old week when you see the 2 final 747s of British Airways, when you see them taken off for the last time, and Mr. Cruz had a hashtag which was BA 747 farewell. Very appropriate. Really sad times for so many people that were so amazed at such an aircraft and the size of it, and then experiencing the first time you ever flew on a 747, and anybody lucky enough to go up into the bubble, everything about the aircraft. Then if you were again even luckier to actually trim a 747, which thankfully I had the chance to do both in Shannon and in Sharjah, it's amazing to see that aircraft then fly, knowing that you've influenced, the best possible weight load for the aircraft. But such a sad day to see the 2 of them flying off for the last and final time. Real shame. On a very positive note, somebody who did a podcast with us, Meta Erner, who's the now appointed GM of Havash. Well done, Meta. Lovely man. And for those who possibly might have seen one of his podcasts, he's the gentleman who tells a great story about why he bought a boat with a hole in it. It's very worthwhile listening. So Meta, I'm sure you'll remember that. Then we come to a man who's not short of a few words, and that's again to do with EasyJet, and I'm talking about Mr. Stelios. So very critical about, as he calls them, the scoundrels over the Airbus plane deal. So he's making himself very vocal indeed as to what on earth are they doing buying more aircraft when they've got so many aircraft not being used. So I'm sure that'll carry on for some time. But the word scoundrel, I thought, was quite a very apt and very suitable word, and especially coming from himself. So who knows how that'll end up. Now, poor old Mr. Dickson, where is he? What's happened? Is it going to make the news? What are we going to do without him? Well, we'll soon see. So the investigation carries on. The mystery is getting bigger by the hour. As soon as we find out where he is or what he's up to, we will let everybody know. And like I said, for poor old Batman running down the high street like in Only Fools and Horses, without his Robin, it's just not the same. It's weird. So Steve, whatever's happening, my friend, get in touch, let us know where you are, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon and getting you back on the show. Now, the week ahead, who knows what it'll bring, but it's going to be tough times for everybody. I think the realities of this second wave are so obvious. There's going to be an awful lot of people needing a little bit of support, help. So anybody who's got the chance to help anybody else who's not having such a good time, please be as positive as possible. Give them that help. And hopefully the industry and every other industry will get through the next 5 to 7 months. Like I said, we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully we'll have Stephen back on. Salem, well done, son, for waiting, and really appreciate it. And what we'll do is we'll put a picture of Stephen up, so at least he's there with us in spirit. Without further ado, James, sorry, my friend, but we will rename it The Weekend Show. And now all we've got to do is make sure that we've got a leading character, because I don't feel as if I've lost my other half yet, but not sure where he is. So the mystery continues. Everybody stay safe, keep well, and we'll see you next week. All the best.